Hey everyone, Mike here. I finally am going to try to put together my first episode, so hopefully you guys like it, and it's going to be a lot of fun. I hope maybe you'll pick up a couple of tips and tricks on bodywork, see what we actually do when your car's in a crash, and go from there. And if you guys like it enough, I'll make a second one. Behind me I have a Volkswagen Passat, black. It's sitting on the air. She's been in a little bit of a crash, got a lot of panel damage to it. Nothing too serious though, so just a lot of hammer dolly work, a bunch of body filler work, and then painting pretty much the whole side of the car. So I'll go through as much as I can with you guys, show you what goes on in a crash like this, and show you actually, why you get those body shop estimates and they're $5,000 to $6,000 when you think that, oh, it's just a little dent. So, being my first video, if you've never watched one before, you might be wondering, who am I, what am I talking about, body work, and what are my qualifications? Well, I'm not a master technician, as I've only been doing this for 4 years, but I did graduate from MATC in 2013 from auto collision and repair. During that time, I also attended SATA technical training, which is a paint gun manufacturer on refinishing. Coming out of MATC, I was native certified as well as student ASC. Since then, I worked in a fleet shop for a little over 2 years, doing fleet repairs on Dodge Sprinter vans. So everything I did, I was a painter, I was the estimator, I was the body shop technician, and then I started here at Hall in November of 2015, and since then I still do my own body repair. I do it from point A to Z. The only thing I don't do anymore is office work as well as estimates. I'm ICAR certified, platinum status, which is when you become ICAR certified, you're platinum anyways, it just sounds cool to say, in non-structural, structural, and refinishing, as well as I'm an ICAR certified welder with GMAW MIG welding. So I'm not a master, but I'm pretty well rounded, I think, so I'll be able to give you a couple of tips and tricks. If you're someone who's been doing this for 30 years and you see me doing something that's completely wrong or something that's totally a waste of my time, instead of just blaming me for it, I take any advice and I like constructive criticism. So let's go over this Passat behind me and we'll kind of go from there. Thanks for watching. So like I mentioned, we have a 2013 Passat here. Looking at the damage, you can see that it's already all mapped out. Something that we do for the insurance company so that when they come in to do an adjustment, they can see all the damage that we've talked about. Also, for me, being a black car, that is really hard to see the damage at times. It's easier on me because I can not miss that big dent that was in the middle of the panel, and then you get your car back and you're not satisfied. Try to make sure we get everything at once. So one of the things I'm going to be showing you at first is right in here. This panel here is called the rocker panel. We have a pretty good dent in it, and you can see right away that I spared you guys some of the very exciting work of stripping down the paint, which I know you guys really wanted to see how you just kind of grind away paint with an angle grinder, but I'm sorry, you'll have to wait till next time. So, looking down here at the tools that we'll need, we have a stud gun, which I'll show you the operation of it in a minute. We have a trap for the studs. I'll show you how I use that. Another type of tool for stud pulling. It's called a slide hammer. It's got a weight on it, you put it to the studs. And these are studs. So sometimes you'll go to some places and they'll have a dent like this. And they'll just kind of try to hammer it down, put a bunch of body filler in there, and then just kind of sand it all down, prime it, paint it, give it to you. But what I like to do, and what a lot of technicians try to do, is they'll try to get this metal back to where it's close as possible, and then finish it off with a body filler because one, better repair for you, as well as it's easier for everybody involved. So, first we get started by finding a better camera position, and then I'll come back to you. So now that I have my better camera angle, which meant lowering the car and kind of being on my knees right now so that you can see really up close everything that I'm doing, let's take you through this dent a little bit. I'll show you a couple of different ways that I can do it, and that maybe if you have a car at home or like a restoration project, you're trying to figure out how to get these dents out the best way. This might help you out a little bit by running the Harbor Freight or actually buying a decent one from Stinger or something for a stud gun, and going from there you'll be able to kind of pick it up, or you'll see that these dents are not just something that you just throw body filler on. So like I said before, I have a stud gun, this unit here. You take these studs, just a little stud is exactly what it is. Feed it into the tip of the stud gun like that. There's this ring right around the stud gun right here that's made of copper. This acts as a ground for the stud gun. Once I put it against the metal like so, I pull the trigger. I've now welded that stud to the car. Now, on a dent like this as well, you see this very distinct body line here. What you'll want to do is you'll want to bring back that body line first, because if you start pulling out all the other metal that's around it and get that where you thought it was, this line is stronger than anything else. By the time you start trying to pull that line back out, it'll take all the metal with it, and you'll end up being a lot further out than you wanted to be. So I'm going to weld a couple of more studs quickly and then show you how to start getting this dent out. So now that I have all my studs welded in a line here, there's a couple of different ways I can go. First is with the slide hammer. What you do is you screw this onto the end of the stud and you kind of just bash the dent out like so. Now I'll also take my body hammer, and there's going to be something that's called a high spot. When the crash happened and this actually got impacted, what happened is kind of like a crater that you see on Earth. The impacts came in, displaced this metal, and created a ridge. Like when you see in when a meteorite hits the Earth and you see the big hole in the middle and then the ridge that forms around the entire thing. Exact same concept of displacement. So now, what you do with your hammer when you have the slide hammer and some pressure on there, you start knocking down that high spot. So therefore, that metal that's all stored up and bound up right there releases and heads back towards that stud that we're pulling on as well at the same time. So let's kind of walk down a little further. showed you the slide hammer, and now we can look at our progress a little bit. And we can see that that dent is starting to kind of pop out a little bit. This other tool kind of doesn't work like a slide hammer. What this does is it grabs the stud in the middle, uses its little footing there as a balance, and as you pull the trigger, it'll pull the stud back up. This one's more for like if you just have like a dent in the middle of a panel. You don't have to worry about overstretching a little bit. But for what we're doing, we kind of want more of a slide hammer. So what I'll do is I'll kind of just stop the live feed from here. I'll kind of go to like a time lapse, and then I'll take back the camera when I'm ready to actually show you some other steps. Alright, so I spared you all the cleanup, so the time lapse should be done now if I can do my video editing right. So let me show you what we're looking at. Keep in mind that it's not supposed to be perfect, it's just supposed to be really close to where it was originally, and then the body filler will do the rest of the work. If this was like a restoration shop and this was a classic car, someone called a metal finisher would probably be sitting here and massaging that metal perfect so that he would have to use no or a little bit of as little body filler as possible. But let's just take a look. If you keep in mind, before it was all smashed in, now you can see that the line is back for the most part. It might be a little wavy, but we'll fix that with the body filler. And that there's no longer a crater up top. I spared you the boring details of seeing me clean up all the paint and everything to get ready for body filler. So next, we'll be talking about body filler. So now we've come to the exciting part of body filler. What is it? Some people refer to it as Bondo, but that's like basically saying that like a tissue is a Kleenex. Bondo is the name brand of body filler. Essentially what it is, there's a couple of different forms. You have fiberglass reinforced body filler, fiberglass, plastic filler, and then you have glaze as well. All different things for all different types of scenarios. Then you even have something called all metal, which has chunks of metal in it for guys that want to make sure that there's no body filler and metal on their car. Back in the day, it used to be called leading. What they would do is when vehicles were, made out of these big, thick steel bodies, they would take a lead bar, heat it up, kind of tin the outside of it to get a very thin thing of lead on the actual bodywork of the dent. Then they just melt in big chunks of lead into the bodywork, shave it off, and then go from there with their primer. Thankfully, I don't work with lead at all anymore, so this is more plastic, and it's used in a lot of collision shops, and when used properly, you'll have no idea that it's on your vehicle, and it helps speed up production time, keep costs down, as well as get your car back to you. So, with the car that we're working on right now, because the dent is on a rocker panel, what I want to do is use a short-stranded fiberglass reinforced body filler as my foundation of my repair. Why? Normal body filler has talcum in it, or talc. What's talc? Well, talc holds moisture, keeps it away from you. That's why he used to put it on babies before he found out he gives everybody cancer. But just put it on babies to keep the moisture away from them to prevent a diaper rash. So, being that talc holds moisture, you kind of don't want to put it right in a high rust area, because any moisture that ends up getting through the paint or into that body filler, or even from the backside since we're using studs, will end up causing a rust hotspot. And I don't want to make your car rust because I repaired it. That's not doing a good repair. So the short strand fiberglass reinforced filler is actually waterproof. so it'll help me stop any rust. And if any moisture does get through the layer of paint into the top layer body filler, there's fiberglass right behind it, so therefore rust won't start. And in a big stone chip area, I kind of want to make sure I give you as much rust proofing as I can. So looking at my table, keep in mind that I don't endorse any products, I just use what I use. I have Evercoat Glasslight Short Strand Reinforced Body Filler. Plastic, we use 3M Platinum Select Filler. It's probably the best body filler I've used. It's really expensive, so it's not like the stuff that you just find at AutoZone, Bondo. So, I mean, I use professional stuff from some. But, alright, so essentially what you have in the short strand reinforced body filler is they take the plastic filler and they add short strand fiberglass to it. So you get this green goo. You take the green goo, just take a dollop of it, kind of like, you know, a dollop of daisy on your tacos or your sour cream. Put that there. This is also a clean sheet mixing board. It's a piece of paper. For body filler, you don't really want to use like a piece of cardboard or a porous surface. So what it will do is it'll actually trap air bubbles in the body filler as you mix it. And if you've been on any forums for bodywork or restoration or anything, you'll hear people talk about pinholes in body filler. Pinholes are air that was trapped in the filler. Sometimes there will be some, but if you do it right, it'll really be minimized. So, you know, moving on from there, this is essentially hardener. It says it right on the label, cream hardener. What does it do? You guessed it, it hardens body filler. So we just squeeze out a small proportionate amount. I think it's supposed to be like 10% in some cases. And we end up with this little combination right here. So a lot of guys will sit there and just start stirring the body filler together to get it all mixed. It's not what you do. You trap air and you get tons of pinholes like I was talking about earlier. What you want to do is you want to fold the hardener into the body filler. And you'll see it start to mix together. I've been doing this for a while, so I may do it faster than you, and I'm also used to the texture, the viscosity, whatever you want to call it, and the pretty good moment that you actually want to mix it all. If you see any streaks still in your body filler, you know to keep folding and keep mixing. And that right there, I'm not stirring. What I'm doing, I'm lifting, folding, lifting, folding, lifting, folding, and then folding it all back over. So now seeing the mixture, all nice and consistent. So now we'll put it onto the car and I'll show you what it looks like when we're done. So here we have the body filler, the fiberglass. As you can see, it looks a lot better than the metal did, because what it's doing is, as the name implies, it's filling in all my little imperfections that I left behind. And this isn't sanded yet, this is just put on with the spreader that you saw me mixing with. And after this hardens and becomes pretty much rock solid, I'll end up taking sandpaper and, like as I've said before, sanding it down to kind of get it roughly into shape, but not all the way. And then I'll be finishing it with my plastic body filler. So let's start the process. Okay, we've gotten all of the body filler, the fiberglass filler rather, sanded down. Kind of little adjustments that you didn't see on camera, just that I'm trying to speed things up. So now I have the plastic body filler that I'm going to end up finishing off the bodywork with. And so I'm going to put that on really quick, show you how it all goes. And as you can already see from the camera angle, that is looking a lot better than when we started. So we're putting on the filler, just kind of trying to go with the shape of the vehicle. And a little nice tip is, the better you make your body filler as you put it on, the easier job you'll have sanding. I mean, yeah, is it easy to just kind of glob it all on and go from there? Yeah, if you like sanding for hours on end. I don't particularly enjoy sanding for hours on end, although with my job I do. But I don't like sanding the same job over and over and over and over and over again. As I'm putting it on, I'm just trying to make sure that everything stays nice and level, that I'm following the body shape, because like I said, I don't want to sand for hours on end. But at the same time, I also don't want to put on 15, 20 coats to try to get there by doing it so thin, by slowly trying to build my way up. I can't tell you any magic or any special industry insider secret ways to put this stuff on or to work with this stuff, because unfortunately it's kind of a thing that you get with experience. It's kind of a trial and error. They got a saying in our shop that's put it on, take it off, put it on, take it off. And if you're at home doing some of this yourself, no doubt you're going to be doing that mantra, put it on, take it off, put it on, take it off. Because it takes a very long time, because essentially you're sculpting. You're taking this putty, feeling out where it's low, filling all the voids, and then when you're done, it's going to end up looking, when you sand it, it should look exactly like the part. Now, I'm not wearing a respirator so that you can hear me, but if you're doing this at home, you'll probably notice this stuff really stinks. I don't smell it so bad anymore because I've worked with it for a long time. That's just nerve damage. So yeah. Now, because this has a little bit of a rounded lip, I'm going to leave a little bit of an excess right on the lip so I can shape, as I sand, I can shape that. But that's pretty much how you apply body filler. I know it was very interesting and very informative to watch, so I'll see you guys after I'm done sanding it. Well, I kind of figured that since I'm already talking about body filler in this episode, that I might as well go over all the body fillers. I have a bumper cover behind me right here, and yesterday, or earlier in the show, I talked about how back in the day they used to do what was called leading. Today we use plastic and fiberglass, but I have a bumper cover here which requires a completely different type of body filler. Now, if I was to put hard plastic on this bumper cover here, which is more of a very flexible plastic, with all the flexing that these covers do over time, just flex, 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 eventually what would happen is the body filler would crack and the repair would become seam, water would get behind it, eventually fall off, peel off, and swell, and it'd look horrible. I'm sure you've probably seen cars driving around like this because some people will just put hard plastic body filler on a flexible bumper cover and not even think twice about it. But this requires flexible parts repair. 3M makes a really good product that I use, and I'll just kind of briefly go over it really quick, how we do it. This is a little different than the jar that you saw me using yesterday. This actually requires a dispenser. Slide her on in. Lock and load your plunger. Grab a towel like I forgot. And the first thing that you want to do is you want to equalize the plungers. So you start by spreading this fluid here. And once it starts coming out at the exact same rate, kind of use your towel that I just had you go get, clean it off, put your new static mixing nozzle that comes with it right on, slide on your collar. Now what you're going to see me do really quick is squeeze out a little amount, about the length of the tip, into the garbage. That's to make sure that I have a good amount that's already mixed properly. And then we'll just apply this right to the bumper cover behind me. So a lot of people will say that, like, well, aren't you wasting material by squeezing it out into the garbage? But 3M has said that in reality you're only wasting about a teaspoon worth of material. And because this is all mixed coming out of the nozzle, we don't have to mix anything, so that's kind of nice. So just like any other body filler, then I would take it, kind of level it all out. Now you don't want to put too much pressure down, because you don't want to push it all into the holes that I'm trying to fill, which are from a license plate hitting my car. This is my bumper cover. So want to make sure that we fill those holes and be unlocked. How to repair a bumper cover. Thanks for watching. So hey everyone. Remember my last clip that I was telling you with the bumper cover about how you have to use a flexible body filler in order to work with a flexible part, otherwise it's going to crack and break. I have a perfect example set up for you now. Earlier I was talking about how we were using plastic body filler over fiberglass in order to finish the body work as well as, you know, just level everything out. So here I have actual cured plastic body filler. Now, like I said, when it comes to flexing like a bumper cover all the time, if you just kind of try to flex this thing over and over again, oh, broken half. Oh well, on a metal piece, it's going to be fine because it's not going to have to just flex and flex and flex and warp and expand and contract like plastic. Metal does expand and everything, but it's not as bad. So now, I have what's known as glaze. Glaze is just a nice little thing that we use to finish the plastic filler. And it flows out better and it's easier to sand and requires less work and effort. It's just as a finishing thing. This has a little more give to it when you're using it, but still in the end, if it keeps flexing, it will eventually crack. Not that bad though, because the more of it is, it holds up better. But flexible stuff that you saw me working on in the bumper, as you can see, I can roll it up, bend, flex, bend, flex, bend, flex, bend, flex, bend, flex, bend, 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 bend. I can sit here all day doing it and absolutely nothing will happen. So this is why you want to use the right type of product for the right type of material. And that's why you want to go to a shop that's actually using the right products for the right material and not just a hack and slash trying to get you in and out. Plus you want to make sure that the tech that's working on your car knows all of this stuff. So alright guys, thanks for watching. So now we have all the pieces that I painted. Booth is done baking. Here's the rocker panel that we repaired. See, looks nice and brand new. The goal was that no one could ever tell that it was hit. And there we are filming. And that, my friends, is also how you paint black. Paint it like glass. Alright, so it's been a few days since we started the repair, and we're all done with it now. I showed you how we took out the dent in the rocker panel, as well as a lot of stuff about body filler in this episode. A couple of other things we did to this car. If we start right here at the rocker, if you remember when we were pulling it out, now you can't even tell that there was ever a dent there. It looks like it was all the way it was supposed to, which is part of my job, to make it look like it never happened. This door was completely crumpled. That door was completely crumpled, as well as this quarter panel. This was all pushed in and dented, and this all has body filler in here as well. I had to reshape this body line, reshape this body line, and do various other work throughout the car. The rear bumper was repaired. She's been completely repainted at this point, this entire side pretty much. And so, another repair done here at Hall. This was episode 1. Thanks for watching. Hopefully I'll make more. Guys, leave me some feedback, tell me what you think, and then I'll try to make some episodes based off of what you want to hear. Thanks very much.